If you enjoy both African hunting and older rifles, double rifles, bolt action rifles of Holland & Holland, Rigby, Westley Richards, Jeffrey, Mauser, please hit the subscribe button below and join our community where we discuss this. Today we're going to look at a proprietary Westley Richards in caliber 318 Westley Richards. And even though the trade label may call for a London address, the rifle was very proudly built in the Birmingham, England factory. Westley Richards has a very long legacy and proud history out of the Birmingham offices of 130 Pritchard Street. Today we take a look at a Westley Richards 318 in a full length canvas and brass case. The rifle is a 318 Westley Richards built on a Mauser Fabrique Nationale action. It's a magazine rifle, 24-inch barrel, and it has two folding leaf sights, the Westley Richards patent combination foresight, full pistol grip, and it has the rollover cheek piece. The rifle was completed in 1954 and was built as stock for their London agency. Now, interesting again, this rifle was built in Birmingham, even though the trade label on the box is for retail out of their London retail store. A couple of interesting things, and this is actually one of the cases that contains the most complete set of items. So it has a Westley Richards Velvet cleaning cloth. A couple of things I want to draw your attention to. If we start on the front end of this deal, it actually has enough space there for a whole set of, I think you can fit 5 or 6 boxes of ammunition in there. It has a full set of turn screws in there, and that front compartment also takes care of the bolt. So the bolt goes in there. And then this rifle is a little unique in the sense that it uses a rifle sling that has these fishhook attachments. So that fishhook attachment actually goes through the sling eye on both the barrel and the stock, and it's carried that way. Now, this rifle also came with a scope. So the scope that I have on there at the moment is actually a Swarovski scope. It's on modern rings, it's non-detachable, but the original rifle actually came with a German scope, which is only a 2.5 by magnification. But very interesting, it had detachable scope mounts that actually slid off the mounts on the rifle, and it came in its own leather protective tube with the caliber .318 actually stamped into that tube. This rifle has been to Africa and has actually hunted there, so it has equated itself very well. Just a quick other item I just want to focus on is the actual Westley Richards patent front sight, and I'll have a quick look at that in more detail in just a second. Taking a look at the Westley Richards patent front sight, it really had this very sturdy metal flip over deal that protects the original bead. And then inside that, it actually has an additional night sight bead which flips up, and you can actually then use it in poor light conditions. So you can see there very clearly the night sight portion shining up there, and then putting that deal back and then flipping that side over. Now, you don't need to flip that sight over if you don't want to. You can still actually look through it from the back and fire it just as it is protected right there. The 318 Westley Richards shoots a bottleneck rimless cartridge. One thing you'll note is that it is a long projectile for caliber. So it's a .330 diameter, inch diameter bullet. Typically this one is in the weight of 250 grain. They did make a 180 grain bullet as well. That 180 grain bullet was shot at a velocity of 2,700 feet a second. This 250 grain bullet goes at about 2,400 feet a second. So having a long for caliber bullet actually makes this a very nice penetrating bush caliber. And I've had the opportunity to hunt both impala and bushbuck with it, and so far I've been unable to retrieve any of these bullets. This caliber was introduced by Westley Richards in 1906, and I think like many of the original medium calibers, it was overshadowed by the introduction of the 375 Holland shortly thereafter. But it is a very low recoiling caliber. The 250 grain bullet makes it an absolutely exceptional bushveld caliber for animals right up to eland, and very easy to use, easy to reload, and an absolute pleasure to shoot. As can be seen on this picture, the 318 still has the original German 2.5 by scope on it. That scope has a single stand-up reticle, and it was very difficult to use, especially with older eyes, but it was easy enough to stock this impala, and taking a quartering frontal shot, and the bullet actually went in just to the inside of the right shoulder of this impala ram and exited just above the hip on this left side, and was never recovered. But an exceptional performance in that caliber. That impala ram maybe ran about 30 yards and picked it up dead. On the same trip, the 318 Westley Richards was also used to harvest this bushbuck ram, and this ram actually hid behind that leadwood stump at the back there, with only its neck protruding, and a single shot to the neck broke the spinal cord and ended the hunt. So again, 250 grain bullet, really good performance. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and until we meet again, stay safe and happy hunting.